or not this year,
Well,
this
yeah, I
week.
guess this week, I acquired the Fuji 56mm APD, which I know we talked about last
Oh yeah,
podcast,
yeah,
which I'm pretty stoked about. And then you turned me on to these macro filters that I can just screw onto my lenses, so I don't need the macro lens anymore. So I
yeah. They're
parted,
they're pretty awesome. So
got
I got
some of
rid of my
those.
macro
Yeah.
lens like maybe 2 years ago, and I just carry around these Hoya filters. They're pretty rad.
Yeah, thanks for the recommendation. I picked up some
Yeah.
myself and give that a go this year. See how it
Yeah,
works for
yeah.
my
For
macro
me,
shots.
I only do like one macro shot if I get
Yeah.
a request for a ring, so it's not worth it to carry around the whole lens. But
And that's what I
you
was
know,
doing forever. I was just carrying around one lens for that. But I also felt like I
yeah,
needed it for some other stuff that I used to do that I don't really do as much anymore. So I got rid of that macro lens and I acquired another specialty lens. I got the 7 Artisan 75mm 1.25 lens, which
yeah.
hopefully will get a chance. It's the
So
M mount, so I adapted it to the Fuji, and I was
nice.
hoping that we'd
Yeah,
make some pictures with that. Maybe you could play around with it too.
yeah. So I've been thinking about purchases and why we purchase stuff and stuff, and we're typically trying to augment something within kind of like ourselves in a way. So we're trying to augment things that we maybe don't have, maybe, or just trying to.
Find joy out of something that maybe you never had. Is that's what I'm trying to do. I always try
Oh,
to get
okay.
something thinking like this might bring me some joy because it's something that I don't have, or it's something that I do have, like with the 56, but
Yeah,
it improves on what I already had. So I know that'll bring me joy because the other one does.
yeah, yeah. So
But the 75mm, who knows? I just got it.
okay, so you're not trying to augment maybe a vintage feeling,
It
trying to
definitely has that
augment
kind
a
of
more
feeling and stuff.
artistic
You know what
look.
I found actually is I like to shoot as a wedding photographer with a lot of bokeh, and since I switched to the X system only, and I've
Hmm.
done away with the GFX system, and I'm just shooting the crop sensor, is it's a lot harder to get a lot of bokeh out of the lenses, and you have to and the sensor because you have the smaller sensor. So I find myself trying to find faster and faster glass. Like I have some 0.95s and this 1.25. It just gives me a little more bokeh, and on for some
Okay,
like the portrait session and the specialty part of the day, I like to have those
yeah.
like
So you're trying to
I just pull them out for that part of the day and I leave them in the
augment
bag.
your ability to blow out a background.
Yeah, it just gives me a little bit more
Yeah, yeah. I was thinking.
variety.
Yeah, I was thinking
You know?
about it this week. So when I bought a iPad Pro a couple of weeks ago, and I felt good about the purchase because it was I bought it for $500, and it was
You're
just
gonna
a
get
really
tons
good.
of use out of it. I mean,
Yeah, yes. And
every
so
day.
I was really trying to think through why I purchased this and why I enjoyed the purchase and why I've been enjoying it. And I'm trying to augment my ability to kind of work wherever and not worry so much about things. That I worry about with my computer. So with my computer, like it might have a crash every once in a while. It's heavy. It has
It's stuck to a desk.
it's stuck to a desk.
That's the
Yeah.
part that really sucks about the big computer is you're just stuck there. You can't go
Yeah,
anywhere.
right. So yeah, I was trying to augment my ability to be mobile and and go work in different places and
Yeah,
stuff. And
get out of the
the other
house.
thing that really matters in this iPad that not very many people talk about is the white balance adjustment. And so a lot of people turn that off, but I think it's good enough. I mean,
Does
so
it just like adjust like based on your scenario?
yeah, like if
Yeah.
the room is like orange or
Yeah,
something.
my
And so
iPhone does that too.
one
Yeah,
of the
that's cool.
things that drives me crazy about editing is I constantly work in like 5500K. Like I have hue lights, and so
Yeah, I
like
try to keep it all
my
the same so
yeah
that when you do the color correcting, it all kind of
yeah. So
matches.
screens are 5600K or whatever,
Hmm.
and so if you have any lights on, they should be dim and also at 5600.
Yeah, I do the same thing. I do
So
most of my edits like early in the morning with most of the lights off.
yeah, yeah. So like natural light or color balance light like always
Late at
works
night.
good. So you don't like get some like crazy colors or something. But
Yeah.
that's one of the things I hate most about computers is just like having to do that. And so just like having to not worry about that is just super nice. I work at night a lot, so like just having all these like lights really dim in my apartment is just so weird, and like you're just at the desk and stuff. So yeah, and then I'm also finding that I'm working in shorter bursts too. So like I'll leave my apartment and go work for 4 or 5 hours and just
Yeah.
like call it. I'm like,
And that's
okay,
kind of
cool.
one of those things too that like you don't realize so much when you don't have it, but being trapped in your home with just one computer is really hard, especially in the off season, especially in Colorado, like cuz we have like months where it's just depressing. Like there's
Oh yeah.
snow and there's something, I don't know, it's like a clinical disease. I think they call it SAD.
Yeah, right. Yeah, like I
sensory
definitely,
awareness or something.
yeah, for sure. Like I definitely deal with sad once. Like the wedding season's over and it starts to
Yeah.
get cold, and then it's gloomy out, and like
And you just can't get out and photograph and do what you want to do so much, and you're like stuck at home a lot more, and you don't feel as creative, and you're just
yeah,
like
yeah. It's just basically like the
compartmented up.
yeah. Yeah, and there are things to help that a little bit. I definitely in the mornings I definitely try to get lots of light from my helights and stuff. I blast all
Yeah,
my helights at like
try to make it look more
5500,
natural
which
during the day.
there's a bunch of studies showing that
That could improve it.
that can improve
Yeah.
sad. I feel so like lame saying sad or whatever, but
Yeah, the seasonal
yeah,
whatever
yeah.
disorder.
Also
Yeah,
found vitamin D
disease maybe.
does help a little bit,
Vitamin
but
D pills.
yeah,
Yeah,
typically for me, January through February is like the peak of that, and so even just like going outside and like doing stuff and
yeah.
like
That's
keeping
important to
busy and
like get
stuff.
yourself a couple projects in those off seasons just to get outside and do things because otherwise you can just trap yourself inside and like just really get down on it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, right. So I don't know, but I think that's something not a lot of freelancers talk about. And like I've talked to some clients before. They're like, "That's so cool. You are a freelancer. It's so cool that you own your
Yeah,
own
but like a
business."
lot of your time, you're just like all by yourself, like cooped up in a little room working on a computer, and people don't realize that.
Yeah. Well, you know what I always say? I always say when people say, I say, well, like when I was in college, there was a lot of people who wanted to become freelancers who like it was like a trendy thing or
Mm.
whatever, and that like I want to work for myself. I want to have meaning behind my work, and those are all things that are true, right? But it's a different set of problems. So if you are an extremely extroverted person, and then all of a sudden like you go to working at home and you're a solo entrepreneur, like I cannot even
Yeah,
imagine. So
you're gonna
like
go a little stir crazy.
yeah. I'm a introverted person, and so I don't need lots of people around.
Yeah,
I
I'm
don't.
like that too. I think a lot of
Yeah.
photographers are like that, but they can turn it on when they need to for their job. But most of the time, they're kind of to
Oh
themselves.
yeah. I'm like an introverted extrovert. So
Yeah,
like
that's how I
yeah.
explain
When
myself.
I
Yeah,
go to a wedding, like I'm talking to hundreds of people. I'm like I'm comfortable. Posing 100
yeah.
people for a group
It definitely
photo.
took a little while though to
Um,
get comfortable posing 100 people. That's not something that came naturally to me. I had to work at that, but now I feel pretty comfortable doing that all the time.
yeah,
Barking
man,
orders at a
for
big group.
sure. But yeah, I mean, but if you're like extroverted and you're just trying to go into this line of work, I think you would be extremely like unhappy unless
Yeah,
the,
unless you
the
did it like in a co-op or you have like
co-op.
a studio where you guys all work together or
Yeah,
something. But if you did it like as we do it, like running from our houses and do weddings
yeah,
and
it's just
stuff,
me.
it's tricky. It's
Yeah,
tricky.
yeah, for sure. But I don't know. I find it's a nice balance between going outside, talking to a lot of people, and then I need a little bit of refresh. So for me, like being a solo entrepreneur works pretty good. But if I guess like if you are extroverted and you're thinking about wedding photography or graphic design or anything where you're kind of on the internet and working as a solo entrepreneur, like you know you would have to think of like other strategies to kind of get through it. I think maybe co-working spaces, or like
Yeah.
stuff
Or
like
maybe
that.
go
But
do trivia at night or something. You'd have to get
yeah,
out at night or you'd
but
go
yeah, I
crazy.
mean, I'd say my favorite things about working for myself are the fact that I can kind of set my own schedule. I can wake up when I want. I can choose to do this. I have a ton of different jobs. So like, one
Right,
day
yeah, if
it's
you get sick of
marketing.
this, you can do that. Right. There's always
Yeah,
a hat to
yeah.
wear.
Well, like I've always, I feel like every 2 to 3 years I'm sick of something. Like it takes me about 2 to 3 years to like master something and get sick of it. But thankfully with this, it's been about 5 years, and
Yeah, I don't know you ever
I can
mastered
kind of
photography
I
really.
can kind of
You know?
switch my hats all the time and stuff. And um,
I don't think you ever
yeah.
mastered photography though.
No,
I mean, you
I
can
mean
get good at it. I feel like I'm pretty good at it, but I don't know if you can ever really master it. Like just to be the ultimate picture perfect every time. You just always make.
the tricky part is it's subjective. So
Yeah.
so if you're like the best
There's just times
photographer,
when
it's
you're off, you
yeah.
know? Like, no matter how good you are, then you're never always perfect. There's going to be times where you're going to screw up. Like, and sometimes the scripts are the best ones.
Well, yeah,
Sometimes I make a
and
screw up and I put it out there, and people are like, oh, I love
sure.
this.
Well, and the best photographer took like 1,000 times more bad photos than he
Oh,
did
of
like the
course.
one
Of
good photo
course.
that. So what makes the best photographer? The person who took the one best image. I mean,
Is there a
and
best
and it
photographer?
and is that just by and is that by chance or is
I just don't know that there is a best photographer anymore. I mean, so many people
yeah.
are taking so many pictures, and everybody has their own like opinion and voice and like
Yeah.
perspective. Like,
I mean, so if we're looking at like art photography, not wedding photography, I think the people who are more likely to become better are the people who just give themselves more chances. So with digital
Yeah.
photography, you can kind of just like go
Yeah,
out,
it
take a
just take
swing.
a lot. Yeah, of
So
course.
if the guy who's
It's a numbers
working,
game.
yeah, 8 hours
Right.
a day, whenever I'm out taking photos and I'm like, this is all shit. I'm shooting shit today. I fucking suck. I just kind of give it up to the chance that if I just take enough photos and work enough hours, then I'm gonna get one good photo eventually. So it's kind of like that. Sally Mann even in her book she did. I think this is when she was working on the Southern Landscapes book. I might be mistaken there, but she felt like she could not take a good picture during one point of the trip. She went on a road trip in a
I
van,
mean, that happens to me all the
sleeping.
time where you'll just have months and you're like, dude, I suck. I can't get it together.
Yeah,
And like, then you look back at those pictures a year or two later and you're like, oh no, that was good.
yeah,
It was the way I was feeling then, or it was my perspective, or something was just off.
yeah. But yeah, she went out there and uh, just kept on doing it. And she's like, the
Right.
law of chances are just gonna make me take a good photo eventually. Like it,
Eventually.
yeah.
And what's funny is she probably, like,
And
or
that's
probably the
something.
critics later on went back through the body of work and picked some of the pictures she thought were shit as some of the best pieces.
Yeah, you never know.
Yeah, you just never know. You
Yeah,
just got to
yeah.
keep doing it. That's the thing, is that sometimes it can be frustrating, but it's better just to keep at it and at it and at it. If it's what you want, you just got to keep at it.
Yeah, I think the biggest thing you kind of have control over a lot of the time is just taste and having an
Yeah.
eye and
Yeah.
being able to
And your settings
differentiate.
and like where you're going to be. And sometimes
Yeah,
sometimes you have the subject control and sometimes you don't at
yeah,
all.
yeah. Sometimes you got to be kind of just a tastemaker and be like, oh, okay, like I understand like this is a little bit different, or like I like this thing
Yeah.
here, or
Sometimes
whatever.
people aren't going to like this, but I do. So,
Yeah, everything's so subjective. I've been thinking about subjectivity a lot this week. There was a lot of music lists coming out within the last month, and there's one album that I kind of like a lot of it, and I hate half of it. And it's Kendrick Lamar's "To Pimp a Butterfly." So you look at any list like Rolling
to
Stone,
pimp a
Pitchfork,
butterfly?
yeah,
Like pimp?
"To Pimp a Butterfly."
I never
There's
heard of
meaning
that
behind
one.
it.
Oh, okay.
I'm not 100% sure. I think it was. A lot of the album is dealing with him being black and coming up in the music industry, and something about being pimped by the music industry.
Hmm.
I'm
That makes
not,
sense. I mean, that's what the
yeah,
music industry does, right?
but yeah. So basically, top three every list, one in some lists for the decade or whatever,
Hmm.
and I understand it. I understand there's a grittiness to a lot of the production. There's a lot of live instrumentation. He had a lot of good artists in there. There's a lot of meaning behind the lyrics, and there's a lot of thought put into everything. And there's just a really good aesthetic to the recording. I don't like sort of clean recordings a lot of the time because it takes away a lot of the
Like
feeling in the music.
overproduced, like
Overproduced,
too
yeah.
much producers in there pushing buttons, 1,000 tracks on top of 1,000 tracks.
Yeah, and it just takes away a lot of the meaning and feeling and stuff. And but the thing that I can't get into with this album is the funk aspect. So he took like funk from uh and like sampled a lot of funk, had George Clinton in a lot of the
Nice.
sessions and stuff. And
Yeah, like Parliament, the P-Funks. Yeah,
yeah,
yeah, I like that
but
kind of music. But I'm old, man.
um yeah, but yeah, like literally half this album I cannot listen to because just of the funk influence when the sampling and the George Clinton in the studio
Is that
sessions
like
and
way
stuff.
different than what he did in the past? Huh?
Yeah,
He
yeah,
never had that
he's an
kind of.
artist who typically he's like kind of like Kanye. Like Kanye comes out with a new album and it doesn't sound the same as any other album that he's ever put
Like
out.
Radiohead.
Radiohead, yes,
Boom.
Radiohead.
All right, now you're talking my language. Kanye, I'm still
Yeah.
trying to figure that out.
But but yeah, it can be so subjective. So and like a lot of times I'll post something on Instagram and be like this is the one, right? This is like the picture and like
Nobody likes it.
yeah,
It
and
gets
you're
like
just like
6 likes, and you're like, dude,
you're like
that
yeah,
happens to me all the time too. And I'm
yeah,
like, oh, I love
and
this.
I'm kind of like I'm not on Instagram as much as I used to be. Like I don't play into it as much as I used to. But I remember in the past being like just being kind of like mad that people didn't get it. Like you guys are
Yeah,
stupid. You guys are stupid.
it's easy to get
Yeah.
frustrated and like and what have you. But like, I kind of find that for me at least, like I like to make images a certain way, and I have a post production certain way that I like to do it, so it always looks in my eyes right, and like I can always just kind of tinker with it and get it kind of back to like where I want it. You know what I mean? In post production, and like when I'm out shooting, I always kind of shoot a certain way and stuff, and I always feel like that's kind of the style that I bring to it. And if I'm not true to that, then I don't like it, and it for me it's harder to continue doing it. You know what I mean? If I had to make shots that I didn't feel like were shots that I liked and had a style that was somehow me invested in it, I wouldn't feel proud of it.
Yeah, for sure. So, wait, what are you saying? Sorry, you're saying that you.
I like to bring my style to my photography. I feel like if I don't put my look and my style on top of it and bring my like eye, and I try to just make something that's already on Instagram, I mean, in a way, I'm just like cheating, and it's not really mine. I'm not really proud of it. Like,
oh yeah, I agree with that.
I feel like it's really important to bring your subjectivity and your perspective to it, because that's what makes your photo your photo.
Yeah,
and like
for
sometimes
sure.
people don't like it. Sometimes people trash it on the internet. And you're like, well, I'm still gonna do it because I like it. Like, that's cool. Whatever. Maybe that's my like inner hipster, but
yeah, no,
I think you should do that. I think you should be kind of snobby when it comes to your photography and the way you want it, and to make sure that it's true to what you want and what you think you're able to create. You know?
Oh, for sure. Yeah, I think it's kind of a fine line. I think a lot of photographers are kind of always like wanting to appease people, but at the same time they want to shoot things that they like or whatever. And for me personally, it's kind of a back and forth. Like go through a phase like this, a phase like that, and then back to music again. So
Yeah.
Like if somebody so I always think of Kanye West, My Beautiful Dark Twisted Fantasy, like again, like a critically acclaimed album, like #1 for that year, pretty much everywhere. 10 on Pitchfork, Rolling Stone, like 5 stars, like literally like.
But you didn't like it?
Oh, no, I love
Okay.
that album.
Okay.
That's like one of my favorite rap albums, actually. But then next album, Yeezus, very, very conflicting, very, very in your face, almost punk. And so it's kind of that. And so
it's like, I made one for you, now I'm going to make one for me.
Yeah, exactly. That's a lot of what artists do. So it's like,
oh, then make the money that way.
So yeah, he wanted to get back to. He just went through the Taylor Swift incident or whatever, and everybody like hated him, and so he made that one. He said specifically he made that one for the people and to get critical acclaim and to become like the best artist or whatever. And then right after that, Yeezus, like, this is not for anybody. I'm gonna do some like crazy shit. I don't give a fuck what you think.
I got a big old bank account, so I can afford to take a crazy chance.
Yeah, or even what is the Bruce Springsteen version of that? It's Born in America and then the album directly afterwards. I can't remember. But yeah, Born in America was
Bruce Springsteen guy.
Yeah, Born in America was kind of the pop or whatever that was critically acclaimed everywhere, and then directly afterwards, he didn't want to give the people what they wanted, because if you give the people what they want all the time, then you're just boring. You become pop. You become just, I don't know, vanilla or whatever. But yeah, and then I'm trying to think of any other.
But sometimes though,
examples.
like, there's another interesting way. Is like you and I, we both have our own creative like ideas, and we both like bring our own perspectives to everything we do, and we both have like a high level of perfectionism that we both like to kind of hold ourselves to. And then sometimes we work on projects together, and we have to like work together, and not necessarily will we bend our vision and we're like, oh no, I want it this way or I want it that way, but we try to still like work within the confines of each other's visions so that we can still cooperatively create something, which is a lot harder, I think, than creating something on your own.
Yeah,
so
and
full control, really.
Perfection can be sort of what word am I looking for? It can really stall you sometimes. So
yeah, it can be paralyzing. You just stop.
Yeah, for sure. Like
you're just trying to get it right instead of just getting it out there.
Yeah, but yeah, there's also a balance in that too. So like if you're not a perfectionist, then you're just kind of releasing things that maybe aren't as meaningful to you, that you didn't spend as much time on. But then if you're too much of a perfectionist, then you're stalled. You're not like working. You're not doing the things or whatever. And so it's kind of like a balance between a lot of that stuff. It's tricky to.
I also think that some of the reason that you and I work together well in this kind of projects where we're making video projects is because we both have different kind of equipment we like to use, and we both have processes that we each kind of take. Like some of the equipment that we use for the video stuff is like generally we'll shoot the whole podcast on your Sony camera, right? Mm-hmm. Like the A7 III.
Yeah, I mean, it could be your camera too.
But we could use that camera. But I'm just saying, like, we kind of have it set up so that we shoot with your camera for this kind of part, and then like for other parts, like we might use the Osmo or might use the Mavic or use these different kinds of parts that each of us will just have our own process for, so we can still have our own creative control, but then we just supply that to the overall project, which is, I think, a best way to cooperatively work with artists. Because sometimes when you have a few artists working on a project together, it can get tricky, especially in the realm of video. Because like as photographers, a lot of the times you can do stuff solo, but video projects usually require more than one cook. You know what I mean? Or one cook and a lot of hands.
Yeah.
So you have to kind of cooperatively work together.
Yeah, for sure. It's, I remember there's been times like in my other channel or whatever, like it's like kind of like you got to trust other people's opinions sometimes too. So like, what I've learned doing videos sometimes is like when I worked with Zach, this other guy's, sometimes like I gotta trust his instinct, because like when you're running a business by yourself, you're a photographer, you're a solo photographer, whatever, everything's up to you.
Yeah, you're calling almost all the shots, except
yeah.
for maybe some stuff that your tax guy says is a good idea. But
Yeah,
for the most part, you're calling the shots,
Yeah,
especially artistically.
Everything's on you. If you fail, it's your fault. And so I feel like I work good that way, because then there's nobody to blame. There's nobody to be you didn't do
exactly.
And so when you are used to working like that, and then you get into we're working together on videos or whatever,
right?
Then it's kind of like then there's always like a push and pull, like I'm doing this, or what are you doing, blah 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 blah. So it's just and it's kind of like it's kind of annoying. I don't enjoy that, but
yeah, it's tricky. I mean, working in cooperative environments is hard, especially for freelance people who are used to kind of running their own thing. But we've been doing it for a while now. I don't know, maybe 4 or 5 years. You and I have been working on various projects together, so we kind of work together better than maybe some. But like, I think it's something that every photographer or videographer at some point is going to have to kind of
this is kind of an interesting thing. I've never really thought about any of this stuff. But I remember we were doing like headshots and other things before. And we were kind of working cooperatively together, and doing like stuff with other photographers too, but through our businesses and whatnot. But I remember we made this company called Vivid Lifestyles. Horrible name. but yeah, like
we didn't know.
But I remember we were starting this up, and we went out and we did some shoots. We did like headshots of people and stuff, and we kind of did the stuff together, and then like
we kind of figured out the system together. So we figured out like how to run the camera and what the lights should be.
But I remember just fucking sitting there working on the website with you and just being so infuriated.
Yeah, because that's like
I'm sure you were. Well, I'm sure you were too.
From graphic design background, so that's like your.
Well, no. But I just remember being infuriated because we were arguing back and forth about all these small changes that like literally probably did not matter at all. Like,
I mean, we don't even have that website anymore.
Yeah, but like it was like I think this should be blue, and then like, oh no, this should be black, and then we wouldn't get anything done for
right, because it would just be a stalemate on something silly. So like, I feel like when you're working cooperatively, it's important to like either work together for a while and kind of overcome those things, or to be more communicative with your other artists, because it's tricky. It's definitely tricky.
Yeah,
but it's something that a lot of photographers, especially videographers, have to work on. So I feel like a lot of video people have to work in groups.
Yeah, for sure. But I don't know, like how did we? So how did we actually get the website like done or whatever for that one instance? So like I just remember like sitting there like and we were kind of like oh, we think like I think this picture should be there. I think this picture should be there, and like it was just like such a weird kind of experience. And then we're
and I think what we learned over that period was it was more important that each of us take on specific tasks of the project as opposed to us working together on every aspect of the project. And I think that's kind of important for everyone who's going to work cooperatively in an artistic team to know, like, there's other people who have other perspectives that are going to differ from yours, and like sometimes you might butt heads on it, and it's better to like realize that and to maybe try to work together to cooperatively make the best thing you can, or to split up the tasks and kind of, all right, you take this and I'll take this, you got to figure out together we'll come up with a cohesive something, so to speak.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I don't know. I guess like once you get kind of everything down, then it's easier at that point. So like you don't have to think about it that much.
Right. The processes at the beginning are usually the hardest part. But once we figure that out, it usually works pretty well. I feel like that was the same with every business I've ever created. It's like you had to figure out, all right, but what do I have to do to get this thing started? And then here's the roadmap. I'm going to do all these steps, and eventually it'll work.
Yeah. I've always kind of hated working in groups. Like even for like school projects and stuff, it's always just like so annoying. I guess like the I guess I already kind of touched on this, but the biggest annoyance is just like who's gonna do what. And so if you can just figure out like who's gonna do what, then you can move past that because like maybe somebody doesn't like doing something, and so the other person will want to do it or something, or I absolutely hate the feeling of just like like even just like going back to school. So like you're in a school project or whatever, and there's like one person in there that doesn't want to do anything, right? And then you're just you're doing the work, and then at some point it's kind of like, okay, man, like we'll just do this, just sit there or whatever. But like just like the confrontation and annoyance of like trying to get through that is kind of like the biggest.
Yeah, sometimes you have some people that don't actually want to do it, and that's kind of a bummer. Like, I feel like in school you're kind of stuck in those situations, and maybe sometimes in work. But when you run your own business and you're like in control of your own situation and stuff, like you have more say over that. Like, rarely do we work in groups except for on our cooperative projects like this. Like, you know what I mean?
Oh yeah, for sure.
And we figured out how to break it up so that we get along pretty well and stuff. We're going to talk about some video equipment, some of the video equipment that we use. Let's try to segue to that.
Yeah, we've shot what was that? We shot like a bunch of stuff last year that has never been released, and eventually
we have a bunch of B-roll sitting around that we're trying to
which is another cooperative adventure, and
yeah, when you shoot like terabytes and terabytes worth of video, going back through it can be a chore.
Yeah,
sure.
Yeah. So
definitely an elephant.
Yeah, we have 12 videos that we made last year, and we haven't edited them because who knows? I don't know. It's like
I think it's because it's just a big elephant.
I mean, a lot of it is the cooperative thing. Like I'm just like, like I need the pictures, and the pictures come over, and then I haven't edited my pictures, and so
right. So you're always waiting on other people, and then but there's times where you have like sparks where you're like, oh, I can do it right now, but then you don't have one aspect, so you're just like, I'll wait till next week. And then it doesn't get done, and then you don't have the same fire the next week, to do it.
Yeah. I think the last time we filmed one of those was like April, so it's been like 11 months or.
Yeah, we definitely need to get those out to the people.
But
that would be a good thing.
But yeah, we shot a little bit on a drone. Did you feel like I mean, we don't really know because we haven't edited the photo or video or whatever.
It's fun having the drone, but I don't know. It's kind of gimmicky. It's kind of like going back to your music reference. It's like auto-tune,
Auto-tune?
Like, you listen to auto-tune songs from the 2000s or 2010 or whatever, and you're like, man.
Yeah.
That has a, you know what I mean? And then that's how drones are.
Yeah, you listen to like a T-Pain
every time you
song.
Every time you see a drone in a YouTube video, you're going to be like, oh, man, these guys are doing the drone thing.
Yeah, it's kind of a one-trick pony. I mean, it's, and then it goes back to...
It's fun, though. It's a fun thing to go out and do. Like, so it makes a couple cool shots, but it's not very practical to have a drone.
For sure. And then going back to auto-tune, like you could use auto-tune really artistically, but it takes more thought, and you have to kind of...
Well, you could use the drone artistically. It's just there's like a time period of which it's going to be known for, and like even if you use it in an artistic way, it's still going to be like seen as that period. You know what I mean? Because people aren't going to use drones as much in the future as they used them just like in the last 10 years.
Yeah,
everybody's had them in the last 10 years. So
I feel like the gimbal like adds a lot just because it makes the footage.
The gimbal is more vanilla because you can use it for anything.
It's just like a steady shot.
Same shot.
Yeah. Whereas
I feel like some of the other tools we have, the Osmo, we connect that up on the car and we can run it from the iPhone while we're driving around.
Oh yeah.
I feel like that thing is more useful actually than the Mavic. Like we get more establishing shots with it, and we can get like some cool like in between shots of like the sky or the car driving off or something. Like I feel like, and we can get some cool time lapses with it. I feel like it's as useful.
Okay,
as
we got to go to break, man.
Yeah, I know.
All right, let's go to break and we'll come back with the news and stuff.
Okay.
Photo Footage is currently on break. Hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, and we'll see you every Sunday for a new Photo Footage podcast. Now back to Photo Footage. Matthew, I have an exclusive. Matthew,
I
have an exclusive spec sheet here. I found it on the ground on the way over here, and it's
on the internet.
No, not on the internet, man. No.
Oh, okay.
No, I found it. I'm the only person who has this spec sheet of the X100V, and
I'm pretty sure that's not true.
no, it's very true. So we have this spec sheet that I found just randomly, and it's very exclusive, 100% true. we have the X100V versus what X100F spec sheet right here. So we have 26 megapixel versus 24.
I mean, that'll probably be right. I mean, that's what they did with the XT3. I mean,
they basically take over the XT3 or the X.
Yeah,
the newest
that's
X
usually
sensor.
what they do is they just move that. So that's probably right.
Okay, so
probably.
Yeah, it looks like they're adding a spherical lens to the X100F, so it would have 2
cool.
now.
Yeah.
That's something that sounds like it would make a difference. 24 to 26 megapixels does not sound very exciting, but one more spherical element probably does, actually resolve more of that like 24 megapixel-ish
Or
sensor.
it probably helps with some sort of aberration, I would think. One or the other, right?
Oh, yeah, and, when it like, when you have less aberration, it just resolves more too.
Right,
so,
of course.
Yeah, and then we have 20 frames per second electronic shutter only. So I guess that's new. I don't know.
It doesn't have a mechanical?
No, it has mechanical.
Does.
It went up to 11 on mechanical. It's looking like, and yeah, this is all like speculative, but I don't know.
Cool.
Yeah, 8 to 11 really isn't a big deal.
I mean, it's usually very small changes. I mean, that camera isn't like, this is the 5th iteration of it. You know what I mean? Like, it's been vented.
Yeah. I mean, I don't really see any reason why somebody should upgrade from an F by looking at this these spec sheets right here so far. But it looks like one of the biggest things could be the tilt screen. So yes, 2-way tilt screen.
Oh, that's nice.
Yeah,
that's something that I definitely wish I had with those cameras in the past, is the tilt. Especially once you get used to having it. Like once I got it on the XT systems, you come ingrained in that kind of flip screen photography, so to speak. You get used to not laying on the floor as much and stuff, And
it looks like they're adding 4K, so that's kind of cool, and 120p slow motion. So
yeah, especially if you're gonna take it as like your family thing, and you're gonna get photos of your family and stuff, or if you're gonna take it for travel and you're gonna get pictures of wherever you go.
Yeah, I feel like
cool.
if this spec sheet does turn out to be true, then I feel like the photography upgrades are really marginal. But if you want to do this, do video or do like selfie videos or something, or
you might do
record
that
a little bit on YouTube.
I kind of feel like the X100 camera was kind of geared towards like really serious amateurs and professional photographers to have as like their funsy kit camera,
Yeah. But yeah, I don't really see any reason to upgrade. I mean, the sensor's not going to be that much better.
Yeah, but maybe if you had like a couple iterations back, if you were doing the S, maybe you would think about it, because then you get a faster processor and you get bigger sensor and stuff. But if you had the F and you were thinking about going to V, maybe you'd wait another iteration or two. Unless that's your only camera and you love it.
Yeah.
Don't mind spending a little bit more. I think the price is going to be significantly more than last time around. It's $200 more bucks.
Yeah. I don't know.
Hearsay.
Yeah, those are all pretty interesting cameras, but I don't really see anything that would make anybody like upgrade from the F. I mean, like you were saying, maybe if you're on an older one or something.
Yeah, if you had a couple iterations back.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know, not too exciting.
Cool cameras though.
Yeah.
I personally think the X100 like is one of the coolest cameras that Fuji makes, and for me it was like the gateway drug. Like I got that little camera as my fun family camera to shoot when I was doing DSLRs.
Yeah.
And like, man, I just love that little camera so much that I switched. It switched me. I shoot Fuji now.
Photographers really need to, I think, have like a serious like talk with themselves and talk about like why, like when this comes out and like everybody is like arguing over 11 versus 8 frames per second or 26 versus 24, the minute difference in the sensor and stuff. They really need to kind of have like a reality check and be like, none of this is really going to make that much of a difference. If this spec sheet rings true, like, I don't know, it's fun to talk about. It's fun to look at the newest camera, but if you're just sitting there and obsessing over just the smallest details here, I mean, I really think that the biggest thing in this spec sheet is just going to be the flippy screen and the fact that it records 4K video now. Unless you need a flippy screen and 4K video, then like
might
whatever,
make it better
very,
for like vloggers.
very uninteresting.
Maybe vloggers might use it more. I don't know. Yeah. But I feel like the same people who had it in the past are going to buy it in the future. Like I would definitely consider it, but like
yeah, I mean, if it's like your favorite camera and you just upgrade every iteration, does it make sense to just sell it off and then upgrade for this minute detail, or
maybe you just like to have the new one.
Yeah, or just hold on to the old one and have some patina on it, and then like don't go through the process of getting all excited about the year. Just keep on shooting the same photos.
Yeah, just wait for number 6 to come out. You just jump on that one, or number 7,
typically with technology, you can wait 2 to 3.
It's always coming out with new ones.
Almost falling out of my seat again here.
Every time we talk about Fuji gear, you get so excited.
Do I?
Yeah, you almost fall out of the chair every time.
Okay,
Keep it together,
I didn't see where you're going with
It's exciting. I mean, Fuji does make cool stuff.
Oh yeah, man, I love them. I'm a Fuji
You're a
fanboy,
Fuji
Sony
fanboy without
fanboy,
any Fuji gear.
Nikon fanboy,
Yeah,
Canon
I like
fanboy.
cameras too.
Yeah,
Yeah, cameras are
fanboy
cool.
of everything, and
Yeah, I've
yeah,
never come across a camera that I was like, I hate this camera. I mean, I like all cameras. Cameras are
yeah,
amazing. It's
yeah.
just
Who cares?
which ones
It's
do you
just
want to
a
own?
it's just a tool. Just
Yeah.
yeah. Think about it like a tool, and then like when a new camera comes out, then just be like, oh, does this make sense? Is this gonna make my photos better? Am I really missing let's say like you shot a photo and it wasn't like you felt like it was too wide on the X100 V or whatever, and then like but you said to yourself, if I cropped in here, if I was able to crop in like 50% or whatever, this would have made this photo that I shot like really good. Then maybe in two more iterations, then there will be like a 50 megapixel X100 or something, and
Or
then you upgrade then.
Or you could just keep the same camera you had and buy the X100 has a teleconverter kit
Yeah,
that you could put on there that would take the 35 and make it a 50. You could just
yeah.
screw that thing right on there.
Oh yeah, good
And that would
idea.
cost you a couple $100 and save yourself the money on the
Yeah.
new camera.
Or if you're just posting to fucking Instagram, then just post it to Instagram, and who the fuck cares? Like
It's gonna look better than an iPhone,
it's a
maybe.
1080 1080 wide image, so like
It doesn't need to be
yeah.
the
I mean, if
brightest
you're a
ever.
photographer just posting to Instagram, and that's your main channel, then like
It's more
stop
about the
watching this
style of
video.
the photo,
Stop
you
watching
know?
this video. Go shoot on your iPhone, and like everything like looks the same on Instagram. You can't really tell like the gear apart very much. So, I mean, whatever. And like all the platforms like Flickr or 500 pixels, those all seem to be dying. The ones that allow you to upload high res to these companies don't care about like displaying a big photo. Like
Well, it's
yeah.
because
I
they're
mean,
not
like a lot of
photographers,
people,
man.
yeah, a
It's
lot of
not about the
people,
photography. It's
yeah.
about like driving people to a brand. You know what I mean? It's getting people to go do something that they want so they can make money on it. With Flickr and 500 pixels, they're trying to find ways to make money, but they're
Yeah.
also like at the core of them was photography. You know
Oh,
what I mean?
okay.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah.
That's what they were making it initially for. And now they're trying to figure out how to survive.
Yeah, but if you're trying to look at an image, oh, there's Petapixel. This is where we get all of our news, by the way. So
Sometimes.
no, I mean most of it,
Most
but
of the time.
yeah.
Petapixel's a great source for
Petapixel
news.
news reporters here.
Yeah.
But
we don't work for Petapixel. We just like to
but
talk
yeah,
about their
so
website.
if you're if you're looking at like something on an iPad or whatever, and then like like an iPad Pro, high pixel density or whatever, and like then it will matter like having more megapixels or whatever. But like Instagram doesn't even have an iPad app, which is crazy. So like you can't even view it big on something like this. But
Yeah, but like I see what you're saying. Like you're angry at Instagram because its resolution is small, but like you can't make the same feeling and the same kind of like style that I want to create on. Like I have an iPhone 11 and it's got a great camera in it, but I can't create a photo that I would want to post to Instagram with that camera. Like I want to use a real camera. You know what I mean? Not that an iPhone isn't a real camera, but it's not like an artistic camera that I have the control over that I want to have. You know what I mean?
sure,
So
but
like you could like if you like I feel like a lot of stuff that gets on Instagram still comes from pro cameras and it's like really stylized a certain way. Like they shoot it at a certain aperture or they
and
do
that's what
whatever
you
in
don't
post
like, or
production. No, that's what I do like about
oh,
it. And I feel like that is what still gives the image its interestingness, even if you can't pixel peep and even if you can't see all the clarity and details and stuff. You still get the feeling that the photo emotes versus like somebody who might shoot it on an iPhone. Or, I mean, people make pictures on iPhones that are amazing. I just can't. Like, to me, the iPhone isn't
have you
as
ever
good
tried?
to me. I have, yeah, and I can make some pictures on it, but I can't. I feel like there's, like, a more visceral experience of me turning dials and holding it up and doing the whole thing in my brain that, like, triggers photography artistically for me. Like, I can't pull it off with my iPhone like I can with a real camera. So for me, I'm always going to shoot on a camera and post it to Instagram just because, but I don't post it to Instagram because I want to get the likes or I want to make content that's curated a certain way. I just do it because I need to get the clients to come to my website so I can book the job, so I can make the money, so I can continue to be a photographer. You know?
Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, like, so if you're looking at social media as just a platform,
I mean, it could be a tool. You know, it could be a tool to your benefit.
yeah, man. So yeah, if you're just already shooting like whatever work, and then you're just posting or whatever, then like yeah, you like wanted to, you had to have these client dimensions. You had to deliver at a certain like pixel density, and in case they printed and stuff. And so if you're just posting that everywhere, then and that's where you're posting from, then yeah, I mean, there are plenty of photographers who will shoot within like that Maston app or whatever,
Just
Filmborn.
put it up there. I've never played with
And
that,
like,
but
yeah, they'll just, at a wedding, they'll just open up the app on their phone and then they'll do like a quick edit. I see like Eric McVeigh has done that a couple of times, Jose Villa.
well, those guys are great.
Yeah, so, I mean, I've seen Ben Chayach, who's also a really
Yeah, he's good too.
big name guy.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure there's lots of guys that can do it. I just, for me, like, I like the whole experience of the camera, and I like the dials, and I like thinking about what I'm doing.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not gonna ever pull out my phone at a wedding and take a picture on my phone. I mean, that seems it seems kind of silly when you already have a really nice camera in your hand, and I don't even use my iPhone for photography. I mean, but I'm just saying like younger photographers coming into it and stuff like, and if you're only posting on Instagram, if your work isn't for clients and stuff, then like, I don't know if you can
if
really
it's just
tell.
going to be seen on a screen and you don't need to like print it.
If this is being seen on phones and stuff, then yeah, I don't know.
Doesn't matter as much.
Yeah.
All right. Anyway.
Yeah, so we got I feel like I see so many of these every year. Like there's at least like 5 of these like wedding photographer articles that are just like angry wedding photographers. But couple asked photographer to shoot free wedding for exposure to 117 unmarried guests. Would you do it, man? Would you shoot a wedding for some exposure from 117 guests?
For free?
Dude, exposure. That's the new currency.
No, I wouldn't do that. But I'm not a starter wedding photographer. I've been doing this for almost a decade. Like I have a solid portfolio and I have like a client base and stuff, and I get enough jobs. But like maybe if I was just starting off and I needed the portfolio, maybe I would consider it. I don't know. It's a hard thing to fathom now that you've done it so many times.
So
you know?
I'm looking at this email right now. This is hilarious. If I got this, I would just crack up. I don't even know what I would think.
It's like ingenuity on the couple's
behalf. They want 10 hours of continuous photography coverage, and
that's a long day.
Yeah, but get this: all of the guests have a combined 3,000 plus Facebook followers. or maybe that was like her followers. I don't know.
Wait, what? This sounds like a joke.
Yeah, look at this. No.
This is on Petapixel.
Yeah, or maybe it's a wedding photographer who's just like looking for exposure. Like
I mean, sometimes when you're getting started, you got to do what you got to do to get those photos. And that might be a great opportunity. But like if you're a seasoned wedding photographer who shot like hundreds of weddings, you're not going to do that. Like would you do that?
No, dude,
Why not?
I can never
exposure.
Can you imagine like walking into like a tailor or something, just like one of these small business shops who, this guy who's like working by himself and being like, oh hey, like I gotta get my shoes repaired. I'll post a picture of you with my shoes, and I have like I have like 1,500 Instagram followers, man. I'll just post it on there.
That's not currency. That doesn't feed the kids. You know?
Yeah. I mean, it does open up a good. There is currency in exposure, but doing like your business model for free to never makes sense.
No, you gotta at some point you gotta make money. But if you're just starting and you don't have the portfolio, and maybe you need this exposure, or maybe it'll get you another wedding or two, then maybe it's worth your time to do. But like in my opinion, at this point in my career, I wouldn't do that. No way. Yeah,
well, I mean, my first thought is if this person was asking somebody who was just starting out, I would assume that this person is not going to have a very big budget for their wedding, so it might not be good for that photographer's portfolio anyway.
But if you have nothing, like going out and doing that day, at least you would have something, which would be better than nothing.
That's true. Photographers need to be calculated with what they do for free. So if like doing like, I don't know, a style shoot,
I've done a lot of style shoots in my life that I knew were going to be published in either on blogs or magazines before the hand. Like, we already kind of had that lined up, knowing that something was going to come of it. That makes sense to me. Like, I'll continue to do stuff like that for free. But like maybe just like giving away a wedding or like doing a complimentary wedding because they have a lot of Facebook followers or something isn't something I would do.
Yeah, really think about anything that you do for free, like how it's gonna, if it's part of your business and you're not doing it out of like passion or something.
Or if you need to build a portfolio, sometimes you just need the pictures. Yeah, that's helping you.
Yeah, well, think about like how it's gonna help you, like what are you gonna do with that portfolio? So like is this gonna add to the portfolio to get you more jobs or whatever? Like if your goal is to shoot weddings and then somebody asks you to go do dog pictures for $25, is that going to help you in any way?
I mean, that doesn't make any sense. No, you wouldn't want to do that at all. But
Yeah.
like, if you could get yourself into a wedding like that, like, there's lots of ways to get started. And my advice would be to anyone who is reading an article like that and considering it is maybe don't do that, and maybe instead buy yourself a bunch of tickets to bridal expos and go get details at the bridal expos and
Oh
put
yeah,
that
you
stuff
did
in your
that.
portfolio.
Yeah.
I did that. Well, actually, my wife and I were engaged at the time when I started becoming a wedding photographer.
Yeah.
And so, like, I was going to that stuff anyway. She was taking me to it. So, like,
Yeah.
I just brought my pro camera and I was like, oh, this is cool. I just made a bunch of those pictures, and that was a great way to sell myself.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, and you're getting practice
Yeah,
with
practice.
the details there, and
Made the wedding show a little bit more palatable for me,
oh, for sure. Yeah, but yeah, I mean that's where you want to be. You want to be thinking about this stuff. You want to be like, oh, like my portfolio does not have enough details. Like doing these free things, or doing this and adding to it is actually gonna give me more work. Whereas like somebody with 3,000 followers, I don't know, like
That could
every
turn into work, but it's not for sure.
yeah
And
like,
you might be doing it for nothing, especially if you're accustomed to getting paid. Like, I wouldn't do that.
yeah. I found in my first like year, maybe year or two of wedding photography, there was not very many referrals coming in. It took a while for me to get that referral base,
that
and
definitely takes a while,
yeah, and then like
especially with
sometimes
weddings.
yeah,
Because
yeah,
weddings
for
are so
sure.
far out. Like, you book a
If
wedding, and
yeah,
it's a year from now, and then a year from now you do it, and then they start referring people. So it could take forever.
yeah, for sure. And like I think in my first or second year, like I never really just had that. I don't know why, like, but I mean, it's come like later in my career, and I get more people on my e-contract being like, oh, I found this guy through Alexa. I found this guy through like this other wedding and
Yeah.
stuff. But it just did take a while, and oh,
Hey, you set off the robot.
all right,
Alexa, stop.
all right. So
Alexa in the studio.
yeah, Alexa wants us to move on here. Let's go to Canon EOS R5 with 45 megapixel sensor,
Ooh, that sounds
IBIS,
interesting.
8K video. So
Ooh, 8K video.
yeah. As long as this has dual card slots, I'm gonna look through this article and just 100% make sure
Well, that sounds
we
cool.
got.
It's cool that they're
Yeah.
like. It really seems like Canon's embraced mirrorless cameras at this point, and they're throwing it all at it, and they know that that's the future.
Yeah. So
It took them a little while to get on the train, but they're on the train.
yeah, this sounds like bullshit to me. I mean, so they're gonna go from no IBIS, no dual card slot, and just like jump all the way up to 8K video. So like I think a lot of their cinema line isn't even offering 8K
It doesn't
right now.
have dual slots. Is that what you're saying?
No, like it's saying that it probably should, or whatever. Like they're saying like all the new Canon cameras coming out should have dual card slots, and so
That'd be nice, yeah.
so
For pros.
yeah, but their current ones just don't have dual card slots. So they're gonna go from having no dual card slots, and they're gonna go up just be like, oh screw it, like we're gonna throw 8K into everything, and like something that nobody actually probably even needs. Like they would just be happy with like 4K 60.
Well, maybe they're
know.
like trying to make up for past mistakes, and they're like, we're gonna get way ahead of this video game, and we're not gonna
Yeah.
drop the ball on this. We're gonna do it now and not worry about it for a decade.
Oh man,
Because that's what they did last time around.
Yeah. So you're saying that like with the last mount, it took them like a decade? Or...
Well, like remember like when the 5D Mark II came out, that became like the rockin' camera for filmmaking, and then they didn't really make too many changes to it until the 5D4 when they added 4K.
Yeah.
But now it seems like if they go to 8K, maybe they could just set it up at 8K and then leave it for a decade again.
Oh, that's interesting. Yeah. So I think that's a good take too. Maybe this is like the 5D Mark II of the EOS R.
Yeah, who knows? It could be like the greatest video
interesting.
camera that's ever been.
Yeah, I mean, yeah.
That old one was sweet. The 5D Mark II at its time was like every videographer was using that thing.
Yeah. I bought like 3 of those used, and all of those people I bought them used from were just videographers.
Yeah, like you want those for taking pictures?
Yeah. I mean, I could see lots of people being interested in just the fact that it was like the headline, like 8K or whatever.
And then you just know you'd be set up for a while. Like you wouldn't have to change anything for a while because 8K is probably going to have you covered for a while.
Yeah, I don't know. I've looked at at some YouTube stats from our videos we deliver in 4K, but I think only like 5% of the time people are watching in 4K in 2020.
Yeah, so like 8K isn't like totally future proof, but it's like maybe a half a decade to a decade future proof. Like you'd have a while on.
Oh no, I'm saying nobody's even on 4K right now.
That's what I'm saying. So like if you had an 8K, you would have a significant amount of time in the future.
It's also good for cropping and stuff too. But yeah, again, like if you're an actual like cinematographer, then like care about it. But I see a lot of photographers caring about like 8K or 4K or whatever.
Yeah, just to be like, I have the best specs, but I don't use them.
Yeah, for sure.
That doesn't matter.
Yeah.
If you don't use them, don't spend the money on it.
Mm-hmm.
Just to brag about it. That seems
Yeah,
silly.
and if you're watching this on YouTube and you haven't even started a YouTube channel or something, and like you're geeking out about like 8K or 4K or whatever, think about this. Like Peter McKinnon still shoots in 1080. He delivers in 1080.
Yeah.
Like
He's as popular as they get.
yeah. So what's stopping you? It's not that you don't have 8K. It's that you're not doing shit.
Right. Yeah.
Like go out and do something.
The best way to get shit done is to do it.
But yeah, I mean, this camera would be better, and it would be up to at least as good as Sony's stuff, in my opinion. If this comes out with better dynamic range, we keep on hearing.
Yeah, it's
from
always
these
kind of a
camera
weakness
rumors.
of Canon is their
Yeah,
dynamic
yeah.
range because they make their own sensors. They're like one of the only camera companies that makes their own sensor anymore, right? Other than Sony,
Yeah.
obviously.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, I
Sony
think
and
I
Canon.
heard.
I think even Leica gets them all. Well,
Yeah,
Leica
I've
always
heard
has.
Jazz Tower for Leica. Like, there's a,
Oh, really?
a company called Jazz Tower in Israel. I don't know if that's true or not,
Yeah.
but
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's like it's
I've
mostly
heard
all
Nikon's
Sony.
got some from Jazz Tower too.
Oh,
which
really?
is- yeah, some of the
Keep it
newer
unique.
ones. Yeah, possibly that 26 megapixel XT3 or whatever came from Jazz Tower.
That one definitely has a way different look than the one before it.
Yeah, that one's not Sony apparently.
Yeah, yeah, and you can tell that's why I don't have that camera anymore.
But yeah, anybody who's jealous of other camera specs or whatever, this would basically solve all those problems for any
Yeah,
Canon
you just be like, I got this rocking camera.
45 megapixels.
It's probably gonna be pricey, huh?
I would think so.
I would think so.
Yeah,
Who knows?
we'll have to see when it actually comes out. But
Anyway, that is
dynamic range, great video, and I don't know, dual card slots. Hopefully, that's the
Yeah.
biggest thing I'd be looking for. Like if I was Canon right now, and
I think it's cool that Canon's finally like embracing the mirrorless thing, and they're putting like a lot of thought and research into making a whole line that photographers want.
yeah.
That's cool.
I don't think that it's come out exactly like that good so far. I mean, no dual card slots in the cameras right now, and then
Yeah, but they
coming
got
out
some
with
pretty
these-
rocking lenses now. They got that
Yeah.
135 on the horizon. They
I
got
know.
that 50 and the
Yeah.
85, but they're pricey.
They're
that
pricey.
85 is like 3 G's.
They're pricey and they're huge. Like
They're
I just don't.
huge.
I don't know. I don't want to be carrying around that. I mean, like I guess like lately I'd be more inclined to shoot like a Leica than a medium format camera. Actually, I've been a lot more into portability, so that's just kind of like a personal preference. Towards me.
Well, there's
But-
some smaller ones now. Hasselblad and the GFX, the 50R is the smaller,
Yeah, they're still big though. I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah, big and
Yeah.
bulky, but
a little bigger.
yeah.
Anyway,
But yeah,
that's the news for this week, huh?
yeah, that is the news. We covered the news and talked about it a little bit more than that. We always just try to talk about some more sort of opinion-based things in addition to the
Yeah.
news, and just kind of it's like
Keep
a
it
general
perspective.
discussion type thing, like just kind of going into it. So always pretty fun. But
Yeah. Thanks,
but yeah,
guys.
check me out on Instagram at Nick J Sparks, and you can also check out my blog, which I've been blogging more this winter. NickSparksPhotography.com, and still working on some projects. I hope to release a couple of projects within the next year or two. So.
And you could go check out my Instagram and all that stuff if you want. It's in the description below.
Cool.
See you guys next week.